What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Snowbike Mike, and we're back at it again. Both of my gaming dads are on the panel today, and the energy is high because we're all excited to be back. And Gary Whitta is currently chugging a Monster Energy drink. So, Gary, we'll start with you. How are you today, my guy?
This was a mistake, by the way.
Yes,
I shouldn't have had this. I was feeling fine. I didn't need it. You know, usually you hit an energy drink if you feel like you need a boost.
Yeah.
I just grabbed it. I was like, I don't know. I'll drink one. But like, I'm fucking cranked.
You're living that
on
good
this
life.
on this energy drink.
Oh, I'm glad
and
that
like,
you are.
I don't know. I feel like, is this going out live?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll bear that in mind because I was thinking like, probably in about an hour, I'm going to be in there with Barrett saying, "Can we cut that bit where I said some shit I regretted?" We'll be good though. Listen, I've only been away for 3 weeks, but it feels much longer.
Yeah, it does. It's wild that it's been 3 full weeks since we've all been together. But
right?
We've had some great fill-in shows, right? Andy and Bless came with me. We did the Wolong Fallen Dynasty review, which was really, really good. Of course, we've missed you both, and I'm happy to have you both back here.
Good to have the crowd back. Wolong, I've been looking to play it, but everyone keeps telling me that like this first boss is a nightmare.
First boss is a nightmare, Gary.
Why would they make the first boss so difficult?
I don't know why it's such a skill check there, Gary, but if you can get past him, I will say it's easy street for the remainder of the time until you hit the next big checkpoint boss.
Weird structure, isn't it, to have a really hard boss at the beginning of the game?
Weird, Gary. Really weird. I don't know why they did that, because once you beat him, very, very easy bosses afterwards.
Because I saw a thing that says like Wolong's boss is like really hard unless you know this like one trick. Can I go read like a way to beat him and then suddenly it's easier? Like once you know the trick, you can do it?
You have to be good at parrying. That's point blank and simple. If you don't know how to parry, you're going to have a bad time.
Okay.
Can you parry?
I mean, isn't it just pressing a button?
Yeah. But it's like Sekiro level. Like, are you good at Sekiro level?
See, that's the thing. If you're telling me it's like a Souls game or Elden Ring, that's not my cup of tea. You know that.
Okay, then it's going to be a tough one, Gary. We can play. You have to play co-op after the first boss. That's the tough checkpoint right there, too.
Let me play. The thing is, I've got other games in front of it, so I may not ever get to it, but we'll talk about it. Paris, have you played it yet, Wolong?
I have, and to the point of what he's saying, it's the same thing with Hi-Fi Rush. That's literally my kryptonite is parrying.
Yes.
But once you can get past that first boss, though, yeah, definitely the difficulty scales now for sure.
Yeah, and you can play co-op. It's more fun. There's probably 3 or 4 bosses that will check you pretty hard, like that first boss. Other than that, everything else is a breeze.
I understand that it's like an endemic part of game design. It has been forever, like since the 8-bit days. I don't love boss battles. I personally just don't enjoy fighting bosses unless they find a way to come at it in an interesting or different way.
Yeah.
But like just trying to find the weak spot and timing your attacks and like that kind of classic boss dynamic. I don't know. I've just never really dug that.
Okay. I think there's a couple of fun little twists on the boss battles that you've seen from Dark Souls and some other ones where it's like, oh, the boss is doing some freaky weird stuff that you got to figure out what the puzzle piece is. That's cool. The other 80% of the bosses are strictly stand there, parry the attack, then critical strike.
That's the thing. And I feel like a lot of game designers and a lot of games follow this, what is now almost like a color by numbers or a paint by numbers formula, which is, okay, get him down to 2/3. Oh, now here's the next phase. He's going to do some different shit. You know, it's the same, it's a variation on the same theme every time. I'd love to find a game or an approach to boss battles that changes the narrative of like, this is not like, it's just a different way of approaching a boss battle. I don't know how you do that. But I just know that would, if someone could figure that out, that would be really refreshing.
Paris Lily, let's introduce you to the show because I've missed you. And also, my follow-up to you is, do you have any good boss battles that have maybe changed up the formula that Gary's chasing? What is a game that would make you feel that way?
Oh, my God. Wait, why am I blanking on his name? Crap, I'm blanking on his name. The boss that lives in my nightmares is a Destiny boss. Oh my God!
Okay, I like
a raid boss,
little Destiny boss.
Not even a raid boss. It's House of Wolves. Oh my God, why am I blanking on this name? I wish Khalif was here. He would know immediately because him and I were the first time we cleared it. Why am I blanking on this name? I apologize, but there's a boss in Destiny that I was just on the struggle bus forever, and I'll never forget when we finally cleared it. It was just like I was celebrating. It was just the greatest thing ever. I'm going to real time Google this. I cannot believe I'm not.
Take a look. I'll remind the audience out there, if you're watching or listening, write in with some good suggestions for Gary's point right there. What are some fun games that really change up the formula to battles that you enjoy?
If you've got any thoughts or suggestions on like the stuff that I'm talking about, like here was a boss battle that kind of like came at it from a different angle, not just like find the weak spot and parry. Like I'd love to hear about it.
It's Skolas. Why I could not think of that off the top of my head. Skolas in the original Destiny, not Destiny 2. Oh my God, that boss was such a mofo. When we finally cleared that thing, it was like a celebration. I remember
That's the thing. Like
around the house.
hard bosses are. Like I said, it can be a struggle, but when you finally get them, it's a great moment of a very triumphant moment. I remember when we first. Back when I used to play World of Warcraft.
Yeah, give it to me. You know I want to hear
Well, they opened up. I don't know if did you play WoW back in the day?
I played a lot of WoW.
Do you remember Encourage?
No, I don't know that one.
Encourage was a raid dungeon at the bottom of remember, was it Silithus? Like this, like that horrible kind of arachnid insect, like spider. It was like an Egyptian desert, but there was like lots of spiders and insects. It was horrible. I hated that zone. I didn't like the vibes. and there was a big raid area that they opened up called Encourage. And there was a particular boss at the fight, and there was like I remember the Twin Emperors and all these like fucking hard bosses that would, and the one at the very end was this thing called Cthulhu. And it was a giant fucking eyeball. And it was one of those things where like, you know, you wipe and you go, okay, what did we do wrong? What can we learn? Let's go again. And it took forever to kill this fucking boss. But when we finally did it and it went down, like, and there's that moment where like 10 seconds in, you're like, it's going to happen. Like we've passed that tipping point now where we're going to get him, and you start to kind of like pre-celebrate.
Yeah, you feel it.
And then he drops, and it was like, you hear it in your headphones, like everyone is popping off, and it's such a great, like those are the moments you live for in gaming.
Gary, I love when you tell me all the WoW.
Oh, I have so many.
You know
I should write my WoW memoirs sometime. I've got some stories.
Well, we got some good stories for all of you because, of course, the gaming dads are back. We're back for another episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast. I want to hear the stories from Dice because, of course, Gary, you were presenter up there.
Yeah.
Greg and Stella from IGN hosted. Paris was in the building, smoozing and having fun with everybody. So definitely want to hear some Dice stories. But also, I want to talk about the big news because we now have an official release date for Starfield, and the Starfield Direct is now set in stone with its own date. And, of course, Halo Season 3 is now available, and I have some early impressions for all of you off of this new update. But before we get into that, I have to remind you that this is the Kinda Funny Xcast. We post each and every Thursday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, podcast services around the globe, and of course on roosterteeth.com as well. No matter where you're watching and or listening, don't forget you can help support the team by giving us a nice 5-star rating or share your thoughts with us in the comments on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to all of our various pages because it would mean the world to us. Don't forget, we are now Epic Games partners, which means if you are upgrading your look in Rocket League, maybe upgrading your Fall Guys Jelly Bean, or even buying the season pass in Fortnite, please use our Epic creator code KindaFunny at checkout to help support the team in a brand new way. And I got a fun one for you. Director/producer Barrett has put in, we have a buy one, get one free sale going on right now on the Kinda Funny store. You can get some sweet Xcast merch if you want. You got the dad hat, you got our athletic fit tees, and you have the dope tie-dye hoodie. You can shop the Bodega Shop collection as well. There's PJ pants. There's our Kinda Funny spare bedroom lawns varsity nice bomber jacket. So take advantage of that. The code is KFBOGO. KF buy one, get one free. Right there, you guys can go shop the store, get yourself some new sweet Kinda Funny merch because there's a lot of great options for all of you.
Kind of liking that check shirt. I should get myself one of those.
You like that little checkered shirt right there?
Yeah, it's a good. I think I could pull that off.
Yeah, that's a nice summertime look for you, especially as a dad above the barbecue. I could see you rocking that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I like that,
for the
Gary.
summer. Yeah.
Let's thank those who support us over on Patreon. Thank you to our Patreon producers for the month of March, Tripod Double Plus and Delaney Twining. Thank you all so much for your support over on Patreon. This week, the Xcast is sponsored by Shady Rays and Honey, but we'll tell you all about that in just a little bit. Guys, let's dive into the big hot news of the day today, March 8th, 2022. We finally got the confirmation. Starfield will now release on September 6th, 2023, and we will have a Starfield Direct deep dive to follow the Xbox Games Summer Showcase on June 11th, 2023. That's the details you need to know. Todd and the team came out with a nice little trailer for it all, some new scenes that we haven't seen of gameplay. Of course, Todd sharing the fun, the excitement, and thanking all of the fans for their patience as they prepare the launch of this game. Guys, let's start off with the initial stuff. Paris, are you happy with a September release, and are you happy with a June deep dive during what would be, quote-unquote, E3, Summer Games Fest, whatever you want to call that summer window?
Let me answer it this way. Am I happy that it's in September? No, I'd rather be playing it right now. So we don't always get what we want, but am I okay with it being a September release? Of course I am. They obviously promised, there was the whole 12-month thing, and, it's getting delayed by a couple months. I think that's fine. In the simple way that if they needed a couple extra months to put the final touches, polishing on Starfield, and they feel good about the September 6th release date, that's fine. Again, June, we'll get the direct. Todd Howard will do his full reveal of it. We'll get to see everything about what Starfield is going to be. I'm perfectly fine with that. Look, delays happen. We get it. This isn't outrageous. I've seen various comments today. People are acting like Starfield just got delayed to 2025 or something like that. This coming September 6th, not that big of a deal. And I'll even add on to that to just say, when I saw that, I kind of broke down what does Xbox release schedule look like since Hi-Fi Rush in January leading up to September. It's pretty freaking good. There's not a lot to complain about. We're getting a steady stream of content that's coming out of Xbox leading up to Starfield in September. So at the end of the day, I feel good about it. I mean, just that little tease of what we got to see in that announcement trailer got me excited about Starfield. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So if anything, I'm really looking forward to June 11th with that Starfield Direct so we get more information about it.
I like that. Gary, yes, the 12-month window. We talked about it at the Summer Games Fest. Everybody was excited. We said all these games shown will be released in the next 12 months. Of course, we're a little bit off that record right now, but are you still pleased with September yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I haven't seen any of this chatter, but to Paris's point, I don't understand these people that complain about having to I've got to wait this much longer for a game. It's not like you're waiting on a platform for a train to come or you're stuck in a doctor's office with shitty 6-month-old magazines to read,
Exactly.
with nothing to do. Go live your life. There's other games to play. Just the game is coming, you can go do other things. I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But I don't understand, we've got to wait this much longer. You're not sitting around waiting. Go just get on with life. It's coming. And it's nice to have a date, right? We know it's nice to have a date. And I'll tell you something as well. I think we can be fairly confident this is the date.
This is the one.
Yeah.
I actually bumped into Todd Howard.
Oh, my God.
In Vegas.
Into him, the man.
Propped up the bar with him for a little bit
That's
at DICE,
awesome, Gary.
chatted to him for a while. And it's funny because I was talking to him about release dates, and I said, we're in a time now where, if you're going to announce a date, you better be damn sure that's the date, right? Because nobody wants to announce a date anymore and then have to put up that card on Twitter going,
we don't want that yellow
sorry, we got to
card.
push
Yep.
it. We're at a point now where, I'm sure there was a conversation where at Bethesda, Todd and all the other people were sitting around going, there was extremely high confidence that they can hit this date because they would not have announced it otherwise, right? Because nobody wants to have to push it again, right? And there's not a lot of window to push it because once you go into the holidays, they want to hit that holiday date. That's the only downside, by the way, that I can think of about it coming out in September, because September is when all the big holiday titles start hitting, right? Typically, all the big money games and all the big AAA games usually come out. September, October is when they start, hitting the shelves. And maybe it's a little bit unfortunate that Starfield's going to be coming out at a crowded time. Not that Starfield's not going to suffer. It's going to be the game that we all choose to play, right? But I've talked before about how everything's an opportunity cost, right? If you're playing a game, you're not playing every other game you might want to play. So I feel like some other games this is a problem every year. Too many good games coming out all at once at the end of the year. I wish they were spread more throughout the year.
Yeah, of course.
But now Starfield's a part of that quote unquote problem, right? It's another big game it's going to be a very crowded window, and Starfield's going to be eating up a lot of that oxygen, right? It's great to be playing it. It's just unfortunate it's coming at a time when they think, there's just too much good stuff all at once,
Yeah.
Great problem to have, too much good stuff all at once.
You love that problem.
Nonetheless, it's a champagne problem, but it's a problem.
I love that. That's right. I'm not mad at it at all. Of course, here on this show, I've been saying, you know what? I bet you it's going to be a year-long delay. I'm not mad at all for September. That's a little bit earlier than I thought with my November
Yeah, so
projection there.
do the math for me. The date that they're now locked into, how far is that? That's a year past when we originally thought we were going to see it, right?
We were
So-
supposed to see it 11/11/2020.
So almost a year.
Yeah, so
10
almost
months.
a year.
What, that's 10 months.
10 months.
10
yeah.
months.
So we've tightened it up a little bit. Of course, we are 6 months out from release as of right now, so not far away at all. But we get the big deep dive, which is really exciting to me. Of course, we now know the Summer Games is coming, is on the way. But what's really exciting, Gary, is the deep dive that we're going to get in June, right? We get that big Todd Howard up on the stage, his own presentation. And Paris, I know you're going to school me on this one, right? We don't have to share it with the Xbox Game Showcase, which means Todd and the team can take as much time as they want to present this game to all of us and hopefully answer all the questions that we have. And the big one for me is what I want to talk about on the podcast today. What do we expect from this developer direct? What do we want to see? What are the questions that you want answered here? And I went to the community to ask them what they want to hear as well. So Paris, I'll start with you. Let's start timing. Todd, I mean, what do you want answered here? What do you expect from this?
Okay, before I answer that, I have to go back to DICE and I have to comment on one Mr. Gary Whitta.
Oh, no.
I got
What
to
is
watch.
this?
I got to watch Gary Whitta in action during DICE.
Yeah, you did.
I'm terrified of where he's going with this.
No, this
You
is
did
all,
great.
This is all good. I think I want to just start calling you the Godfather. Every time I would see Gary, he's like a magnet. Everybody wants to talk to Gary.
Yeah.
Everybody comes to Gary. Everybody wants to shake his hand. Everybody wants to have a conversation. And I was like, wow, I actually do a show with Gary Whitta. This is great. But yeah, you're awesome. Your awards presentation, I know you're a little nervous about it. You did amazing.
Thank you.
You did amazing on that. Just the whole thing was great. But I also have to say, this is just on my own little personal kind of fan moment. I too had an interaction with Todd Howard. As we're walking out of the awards, he was with Ted Price. And I just happened to be behind them. And Ted Price turns around and he knew who I was. He knew about KindaFunny and he had nothing but praise for what we do. And Todd Howard agreed.
Oh,
And
no way.
I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say other than thank you.
I don't know
Just
Ted,
that
but
moment.
I meeting Todd for the first time. He's a really nice guy, very personable, like airs and graces or anything, just really down to earth. I really enjoyed spending time with Todd Howard. And I saw him a few times because he was a presenter. He presented the award before I was up, and so we rehearsed together and did a whole thing, and it was fun. I want to say I very much appreciate, just on a personal note, very much appreciate the kind words that Paris had to say just now.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed my time at DICE because, I sit in my sweatpants, behind my desk all day long. And, I have a lot of insecurity. Like, I often don't think very highly of myself, and I'm very self-critical. There's a lot of negative self-talk in my head. I'm just one of those kind of people. And to go to DICE, and to Paris's point, have so many, and I think it helped that I was up on stage and I was introduced as who I was. So everyone knew who I was and recognized me. Particularly on awards night, there was a lot of people talking to me. And I want to tell you one story in particular.
I want to hear.
So in general, I really, really enjoyed. It was great for my ego and just great for my own sense of self-esteem to have so many people come up and say genuinely nice things.
Beat it.
Here's my favorite thing, because this actually happened to me 3 times, and I'm going to be a little bit braggy here, but fuck it. It was really fun. I would be standing with someone that I knew. And this, you know this, this is the dynamic. Like, if let's say 2 people are talking at DICE and you know one of them but not the other.
Oh, okay.
You go up and you talk to that one person and they introduce you to the person they're talking to, and now you know them. And that's like how networking works, right? And I got to meet lots of interesting people that way. And so this happened a few times where I would either go over and talk to like someone that I knew but I didn't know the other person, or I was already talking to someone and they would come over because they knew the other person. And now there's 3 people and I would get introduced. So like my friend would say, "Oh, this is Gary." And this happened 3 times. It's so funny every time to watch it happen. Because I wasn't wearing a badge or anything. And like my friend would say, "Oh, this is my friend Gary." And they would go, "Oh, nice to meet you," just like whatever. And then about 60 seconds later, I don't know if I said something or there was some reference, but like the penny dropped and they went, "Oh shit! I just realized who you are."
It's
and like, and they changed, their demeanor changed immediately. Like, "Oh fuck, you're Gary Whitta." And I was like, I don't know, is that impressive? Well, I don't know. Fucking apparently it is. And like, I got a big like dose of that because it happened 3 different times. And I came back from Vegas just feeling like really topped up with like, I know, maybe I am cool. I don't know. Like, lots of people were really fucking impressed to meet me, so that was cool. My favorite thing.
And it's spot on. Everybody loves Gary. I'm serious. Just observing as I was watching. Everybody loves
I was
Gary.
just on really good form as well. Like I just felt like I was very social. Like, I had great banter. I was very sociable. I enjoyed being out in Vegas. Like Vegas is my. I love Vegas. Not everyone loves Vegas, but I do. Like, I'm in my element there, and I had so much fun. And my single favorite moment was at the awards. Ed Boon was there, and Ed Boon presented an award as well. And Ed, as you know, actually won the Lifetime Achievement Award last year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ed obviously is a legend. For anyone, I'm sure everyone does know, but anyone watching that doesn't know, Ed, is the co-creator of Mortal Kombat. So like absolute fucking stone cold Hall of Fame legend in the video game world. And I'd never met him. And I've been in the video game business long, and I remember when Mortal Kombat came out in 1993 to home consoles, and I worked on a magazine at the time called Computer and Video Games back in the UK. And I remember what a massive, massive deal it was. And I still remember that TV commercial, Mortal Kombat, and the kids running through the street. Remember all that shit? It was a cultural phenomenon. And if you weren't there, you'll never understand what a big deal fucking Mortal Kombat was back in the day. It was a cultural, seismic event. And Ed co-created that. And he's just one of the few people that I don't get starstruck, but I was genuinely impressed to meet him. And I went over and I said, fuck it, I can go talk to him. Like I went over and said, oh, Ed, I'm Gary Whitta. I presented with you tonight and just wanted to say hello. Big fan of yours. And he went, oh, I know who you are. And I thought he was going to say, I'm a fan of Rogue One, because that's usually what I hear, because that's the thing I'm most well known for. But he said, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of, and I go, here we go with Rogue One. He goes, I'm a huge fan of that fucking Animal Crossing talk show that you guys did. That was hilarious. I watched every episode of it. I'm like, you're a fan of Animal Talking? He goes, yeah, I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, if I'd known, I'd have had you on back in the day. Anyway, it was just, I just had a massive smile on my face the whole time. I had the best time.
Gary, that's awesome, Gary. You deserve that. That's great, Gary.
Now, I know we got slightly sidetracked. I'll say this one thing and then actually go into the topic of what you asked, Mike. So shout out to Greg Miller.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing him at DICE, he was rocking the Xcast gear.
Oh, he was.
Yes,
he was. Thank you, Greg, to that. And again, Greg, like, obviously we like to have fun with Greg and all that, but to watch him live hosting and to just see how good he is real time.
Greg and Stella
doing
both
all
were
that
great.
stuff. Yeah, both Stella was amazing as well. It's just props to them. It was such a great night being at the awards and just overall at DICE, getting to meet so many people and, have those conversations and do the networking and everything.
The magic of Greg Miller. And I was just saying this to Nick out back there, because we were talking about stand-up. And I was saying, because he was in the room where Greg was doing his thing. There were a couple of scripted jokes that didn't work, right? They did a whole thing on my parents. You remember? There was a couple of they did a whole bit about trombone champ that I thought was funny, but it fucking died on the night, and it was like one of those like, this is not working. But what Greg is really good at is then making a funnier joke out of the fact that the joke didn't work, and he gets a bigger laugh that way. He's so good on his feet. He's very, very impressive.
Yeah, he is really good on his feet. That's right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, what were we Starfield, right?
We're talking Starfield Direct.
So you're asking what am I looking from it?
What do you want to learn? What do you expect from the Direct?
The fact that they're decoupling it from the actual showcase, to your point, Mike, I think this gives them the extra time that they're going to need to really deep dive into it. I would imagine at a minimum, this is probably a 45-minute presentation, right? They'll obviously, talk to the developers, see the studio, kind of go the whole history of all that, but really kind of dive into what the actual gameplay of Starfield is going to look like. What does it look like to land on a planet? What does it look like to pick up a quest? What is some of the NPC chatter going to look like? I think that's kind of the opportunity that they're going to have having this extended look. There's been chatter about they have these procedurally generated planets outside of the curated ones that they have. What does it look like on one of those? What can we expect on that? What is it like on an actual curated planet where you're picking up these quests, where what does the weapon battles look like? There's so many little details that them having extended time that I'm expecting them to be able to touch on. And I think in classic Todd Howard fashion, the fact that this is happening in June, and then for all intents and purposes, the game is out like 2 months later, 2.5 months later, this will all be fresh on our minds. We won't have this extended lost. Well, they talked about that a year ago. What is this game about again? It'll be all fresh in our minds. And the fact that they can kind of have this extended info dump on what Starfield is, if anything, is probably just going to even more excited for it. And like I was saying, just a tiny little bit that we saw in that trailer, I mean, graphically, it looked pretty freaking good to me. I don't know about anyone else, but it looked pretty good to me. I think they can show off what it's going to look like on the Series X, what it's going to look like on the S, and then obviously the PC as well. So, I don't want to overhype it, but I do have big expectations for what this is going to be, because I think we can all agree this is the game for Xbox in 2023. This is their biggest game, no matter what they show at the showcase previously. Starfield is their flagship game for 2023. So I expect them to not hold back. Just give us everything.
I agree with that. Yeah, we've been talking about it on this panel for quite some time. This is the big game, right? This is what we're expecting. Almost perfection, right? Game of a generation. This is the quality they've put out before. These are what Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout are known for. That's what we're expecting, especially with the new IP of Starfield going out to the sci-fi world, right? And Paris, I'm right on board with you. Planet and explorations is the big one for me, right? What are these planets? They talked about that giant number, 1,000 planets that you can go to. Mm-hmm. Well, what does that look like, right? Am I going to get bored of those quickly? Do you have something that will entice me gameplay-wise to give me the reason to do that, right? I think it was really cool. You look back on the YouTube channel that Bethesda created all with the Starfield playlist, and man, we've been talking about this for almost a full year now, Paris, like you said, where you're almost forgetting what we've learned before and where we are today. So it is exciting to say, we'll plant the flag in June. We're going to give you everything you need to know. We'll release it in September. And for me on that, we talk about planning and exploration. I'm excited for that one. I want to know why I should do this, because in Skyrim, people spend hundreds and thousands of hours in this game. Will I do the same in Starfield? Can you entice me to do that? Gary, what are some things you want to see?
I have a jumbled grab bag of thoughts on this that I'll try to assemble for you. First of all, I'm going to say something that might sound quite contentious in the headline, but when I explain why, you'll understand. I might not watch this extended preview thing. I might just skip it. And that's not because I don't care about Starfield. It's because I do. I'm really excited about it. I've said to you before, my favorite kinds of games are the ones where you can like disappear into another world, like Mass Effect. Like, I live here now, right? I want World of Warcraft. That's, fuck the real world. I live in this world. This world is so cool and it's so immersive and there's so much to do and it feels like a lived-in, living world that I just want to be here. Grand Theft Auto is another good example, right? And I hope this is that kind of game. It seems like it will be, following in the tradition of like the tried and true formula. So I think I'm just more in the camp of like, there are certain kinds of people that, like maybe Paris is one of these kind of people that wants to eat up every nugget of information, every morsel that you can get before the game comes out. I'm kind of on the other end of the spectrum. But you know how like people sometimes what they call going on blackout? Like, I don't want to know anything. I want to go in, like, I don't want to watch trailers. I don't want to have anything spoiled for me. I just like, I'm going to watch the movie or I'm going to play the game when it comes out, and like, I want to go in fresh. I think I'm more on that end of the scale. I'm kind of happy to wait until September and discover the game. Yeah. When it comes out. I don't need a long I'm excited about it. I have faith in Bethesda. I think it's going to, I do, if I had to put my money or my chips on something right now, I would say it's going to be great. I don't think it's going to be disappointing. I'm happy to wait. I mean, I might watch it just because I feel like for Xcast, I should come on here and like say something about it. But like, I don't have any great compulsion to watch it. Beyond that, I will say this, based on, they obviously didn't show very much, but like, even just when Todd was speaking, right, you can see them playing it in the background, just looking at the screen that they're playing. I'll tell you this, I think it's going to be great. I don't think it's going to reinvent the wheel, nor do I think it needs to. I don't think it's going to reinvent this type of game. I don't think it's necessarily going to reinvent any one aspect of this game. Oh, this changes the way I think about this or that. Like, it's just I think it's going to be a refinement of the formula that Bethesda have been refining for years now through, as you said, the Elder Scrolls games, through the Fallout games. Right? Like, they're very, very good at this. But like, you're going to run around planets in third person and pick up quests and follow a main story and do side quests and craft shit and fight bosses and you're going to do all the shit that it's going to be that, right? I mean, do you think I'm wrong? Or
we're all smiling because yes, it's paint by numbers. We all know.
So it's not going to blow our minds in terms of like, oh my God, this is a new paradigm in gaming. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be hopefully, and this is my best prediction for it, a very, 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 very polished, very refined, as close to the state of the art as we can get iteration of a tried and true type of game, which is like the epic, Mass Effect, Oblivion, Fallout type, world exploration type thing, right? Maybe this preview will hint at some new paradigm-busting element they're bringing to the game. I don't know. Paris, what do you think? I don't think they're going to reinvent the wheel, right? It's going to be a very good iteration of this kind of game.
No, I think you're spot on with that. And that's the whole point. It doesn't need to be anything other than what you would expect from a Todd Howard-led Western RPG. I don't even know if that's a term anymore, but basically a Bethesda RPG that's now in space with, exploration, just everything that they've already told us about. I'm not expecting some surprise thing, a gotcha moment to come out of this direct. I'm expecting a pretty straightforward RPG, but a very well-crafted RPG. Like you said, a very polished RPG, something that has a very compelling story, be it the main story or the side quest, characters in it that I can actually care about and I want to interact with. That's what I'm looking for from Starfield. Yeah, I mean, really, it's that simple. That's
I'm
what
on
I
the
want.
other side. I don't say reinvent the wheel, but I do want to see some fresh takes, right? This is a studio that's been around for 2 decades making games. They've brought in new faces, new talent, people that have grown up loving their games. What do they bring? What kind of fresh things can I see that I already know, but I want something new. I want something different.
Yeah, and I think I was about to say the one thing I can think of in terms of, well, this is new, is fully like a game that encompasses both fully formed space travel and combat and fully formed like surface level planetary exploration. But No Man's Sky already did that, right? That's why those No Man's Skyrim jokes were going around when they first did the reveal. So I don't think it's necessarily even that. I think that on a smaller level, there might be lots of little moments where like, oh, that's cool. Like they found a cute way to do this or that. But I don't think there's going to be anything when we're playing it. I don't think there's going to be anything like completely unexpected in the way it approaches. Again, I think Bethesda have been sharpening this blade, for many years now.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see like the sharpest blade that they've gone yet. But I do you another one. Dollars to donuts. There is going to be a moment where you meet some fucking space farmer who's like, some monsters came in and fucked up all my shit, and you need to go kill 10 of them, and I'll give you a prize. Yep. I fucking guarantee it because they can't not do it.
You know what? The one thing though that they definitely need to improve, what we've seen in the past with like Fallout as an example. I want improved gunplay.
Yes.
If anything, that's kind of the one thing that I really want to see. And to your point, Mike, you're bringing in fresh people, new ideas, things like that. I want to see improved gameplay on this. Not that it needs to be the next Halo or Destiny or something like that as far as a shooter goes, but I want competent. I feel I'm having fun, engaging gunplay against whatever the enemy AI is going to be. And I guess that's another point, the AI. I don't want just dumb AI that's just standing there waiting for me to shoot it. I want to see something that can be a little more tactical, things like that. Maybe we're being too ambitious. I don't know. Obviously, we're going to find out June 11th what all that looks like. But this is an opportunity to take all the lessons learned that Bethesda has had with RPGs over the past 20 years and make this their masterpiece. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, right?
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Yeah.
And going back to Parrish's point and about like not needing to reinvent the wheel, like they don't. And to his point about gunplay, I'm just thinking like, like if it's a lot of this is just execution dependent, right? Like if they just get it right, if they get the fundamentals right, like if the moment-to-moment gameplay, like Mass Effect, right? The moment-to-moment gameplay, the combat is so much fun. You're just having a blast every minute that you're engaging in that game. And if Starfield has that, and when you talk about like what constitutes good gunplay, like the weapons have to feel right, they sound right, they feel like meaty and substantial. Like it's fun to fucking kill things, right?
Yeah.
If it can pull that off, and again, like it's one of those things where like you know it when you see it, and it's the product of just like fine tuning and testing, and you dial it in just right. If it can just do the fundamentals really, really well, maybe that's enough.
Yeah, I do agree. I want the gunplay just to be ratcheted up just a little bit. It's right. Just turn that dial just a little bit more. Let's dial that in. It's fun because right now, of course, I asked the community, come get involved. Let us know what they were most excited about, what they wanted to learn. And a fun one right now in our live chat, of course, if you support us over on Patreon, you can watch all of our shows recorded live. Jeremy D wrote, give me a story with at least some decisions that get me to want to play it again and go the other past choices.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we know, Bethesda, they have a lot of options. You can choose one faction or the other. And sometimes you're left going, what if I went over there? Maybe I wanted to. But I've personally never gone back like Jeremy's saying, where it's like, oh, I have to see the other side. Do you think Paris they'll nail that? Or do you already think they do nail that?
I think that's a great question because I do think that is another important aspect of this. I want my choices to have consequences. I want my choices to matter, right? So whereas there's an entire storyline, story beat, characters I don't even meet because of choices that I made. I think that would be fascinating. And to the point of the question, that adds to the replayability of Starfield, where I'm going to roll a new character and I'm going to make completely different decisions because I want to see what happens when I do, right? And I get to meet these other characters, or maybe, you know, when we talk about the factions and all that, depending on the choices that you make, some people are going to be friendly to you, some people are not. I want to see all that stuff matter. So by the time credits roll, there are unique endings depending on my choices, things like that. And again, I want to be clear. We could this could be way too ambitious of the stuff that I'm saying, but we know that these are possible things that could happen in the game, right? They've talked about this kind of somewhat, but not really in depth. And that's why I think the direct is that opportunity to kind of really flesh that out. Like, again, as an example, I would love to see them play out Questline to kind of show you, I made this choice here, so now I get to go do this. Oh, but then I make this choice and you get to go do that. And it's like, oh, wow, which one do I choose? You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a great question, because I do think that's a very important thing that should be coming out of Starfield, that all our decisions actually matter.
It's a good point. And, you know, everyone has like their own kind of laundry list in priority of like what matters to them. Like Paris highlighted the gunplay, and I want good gunplay. For me, and I'm surprised I didn't bring it up earlier, is like, I want to care about the story, right? Story matters in games like this. One of the reasons why I love Mass Effect 2 so much is I gave a shit about that story. They made you care about all of those characters. And then they said, guess what? You're going to go on a fucking suicide mission. And some of them are going to die, right? And it puts you in this horrible position. Knights of the Old Republic. I remember like some of the choices that you had to make at the end were agonizing. Oh my God, I have to do terrible. Like, especially if you want to play dark side. It said, you want to be dark side? Well, you gotta back that up. We're gonna give you some terrible choices to make. Like, I want the story to matter. I want to care about the story. I really hope, and I don't think it will, because Bethesda are good at storytelling. I really, really hope that it's not just some generic, you got to save the universe bullshit. I hope they come up with something that makes me care about this on a personal level, that they have characters I care about and I like, and I you know, I want them to survive, and I want good things. That's what matters to me, to be full. If I think about the favorite games I've ever played, they're all ones that have stories that check those boxes. And again, to Parrish's point, I don't think when he says maybe it's too ambitious, I don't think it's wrong to be too ambitious. Like, if you can't get super ambitious about this game, what game? Like, this is a game that is shooting to execute at the highest level from a team that has, you know, made some of the best games of all time. So like, if you can't, you know, have your sky high expectations on this, when can you? Well, it's okay to have super high expectations.
Yeah, I like that you're building off the story. And for me, I wrote down the lore, right? I'm so excited to see this world that they've built, right? Learn about where we are today, what got us to this point today. What are some of the nice sprinkles that you add in where I go one way to the left, and Gary never read that piece of, you know, lore over here, and I loved what found out. Omega Buster in the chat wrote, give me NPCs that we can care about, right? And
of course, I made the same point.
In the chat out here, we've seen a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter say, hey, I want to care about the NPCs. I want romance options. I want really cool companions, right? I think that's going to be a fun one. Is if we look back on the Bethesda games, I think all of us can name out at least one NPC that we really cared about and loved, right? How do you do that again in this? What can we expect from it? And will they be even better than the last one? Will be exciting to see.
Does Bethesda typically do romance? I think that's more of a BioWare vibe,
I don't think they do much romance, but I think back in Skyrim, you could get the household, which then you could marry someone and have children. That was a nice touch. I like that. So
and world building is like we've seen so many different versions of the future, right? Like, you know, Star Trek, Mass Effect, you name it. One of the things I liked about Mass Effect, I've made this point before. I never do this in video games, but like, I read every goddamn codex entry in Mass Effect.
Yes.
Because like they were all really interesting. Like every planet had like an interesting story behind it. I wanted to know all of it. Like, I wanted to drink in that mythology, that world building, that lore. So aside from having an interesting and engaging personal story that I feel invested in, which I think is job one, another big part of that is like, show me a version of the future that's interesting that I haven't seen before. Like, what is it about this future that's cool, and like, oh wow, that happened, that's some cool shit. Like, I want to see that as well. I hope it isn't just some generic future shit.
Yeah. We have so much more to talk about right after a word from our sponsors.
Shout out to Shady Rays for sponsoring this episode. Look how cool I look. You too can look this cool. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and so much more. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. They'll also provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order and have donated over 20 million meals to date. That's fantastic. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for y'all listeners and watchers right now, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the new year. You can go to shadyrays.com and use code KindaFunny for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. These are 5-star rated by over 200,000 people. Again, that's shadyrays.com. Use the code KindaFunny. Shout out to Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey is the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer, and thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. And we all know there's nothing better than the feeling of saving money. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. When you check out, the Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. You'll wait a few seconds, you see the fun little dancing guy. Honey searches for coupons, and it finds you the best ones. And then you just watch the prices drop. We here at Kinda Funny have been using Honey for years, and it's helped us save thousands on tech, costumes, food, you name it. Honestly, I just love how easy it is to just set and forget and save. That's the best part. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your phone too. You just activate it on Safari on your phone, you save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. You can get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kindafunny. That's joinhoney.com/kindafunny.
All right, Paris, come on back with me. Tell me what you got.
No, I was just going to say one other thing that I hope comes out of this is my exploration is rewarded. So if you really put in the effort to go explore these planets that you're like bring back water cooler talk, right? I want Starfield to generate a lot of conversations like, dude, did you go to this planet? Because I found this and there's this story beat. And I want to hear those kind of things where it's not just complete the main story, 20 hours, 30 hours, whatever it's going to be, and you're done. I want people that are investing 100, 150, 200 hours into Starfield, that time is rewarded because you're finding things off the beaten path that are truly interesting and worth your time. Yeah, I think that's the other big potential.
Absolutely. There's a lot of these big open world games, Paris, especially when you say, 1 million planets and 1,000 places to go. The problem is a lot of it ends up just being filler and busy work, right? And you don't want that. Like you want every minute of your game at the time you're playing the game to feel meaningful.
Yeah.
And that's difficult when it's such a vast world. I think that's actually a fundamental game design issue that we have these days. How do you create these vast worlds and not have so much of it just feel like, you're just like, I just have to travel a long distance, or this is all just busy work. And again, I'm killing 10 things because the game needs to give me something to do, but I don't really feel like I'm advancing anything. Like that's important too.
You want every planet to matter where you go. What is there? What's on that planet? Why should I go there? Right. And I think that's the big one for them is they've been preaching the word like beyond and what is out there. Right. And so now you have to nail that feeling all the time of, well, what is that? Why should I not skip this planet? Because there's so many.
Yeah. And that's, to me, it's a quality equation, not a quantity equation. So when they say, 1,000 different planets, personally, I'm not impressed by that.
Yeah.
I go, okay, great. What is there to do on each one and what's going to make each one meaningful? Right. That's what matters. And maybe we'll get close to that with this.
Yeah. When we talk about what we expect from the direct, right? It's like, he's going to have to land on about 5 of them and really showcase, hey, this is what's special about them. This is what you're going to see. This is what you can expect, right? I think that's a must-see over on that side of things. Gunplay, gameplay is a must-see as well. I agree with Paris, right? I would like you to play out a whole storyline or a nice little side mission storyline. Like, take me through beat by beat and explain to me what I want to see. I think it's tough of what is 45 minutes and how do you cram in everything we need to see in that 45 minutes.
And the thing is, I think you also have to have a little bit of kind of healthy, in my case, I've been around a long time, kind of well-earned skepticism. Not cynicism, but skepticism about it. Don't forget, I mean, this is going to be curated. This whole event will have been very carefully prepared and edited to, be a long advertisement. They want you to buy the game, or at least play the game if you got it on Game Pass, right? They want to sell you on this game.
Yeah.
So they're gonna show you the game in a way that they think shows it in its best possible light, and that's fine. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of cool things to show, but it may not be 100% representative of what your experience is going to be when you actually play the game. Like, for example, here's a cool thing, here's another cool thing, but there's a bunch of boring shit in between. They're not going to show you the boring shit, right? They're going to show you the highlight reel. But we won't know for sure until they actually deliver the goods in September.
Yeah, I look forward to that as well. I mean, another one that I keep thinking of is those oh wow moments, right? Taking off from a planet for that first time. I want that to be magical and really cool looking, right? Base building. What is going to go into base building? How do you make them unique and not look like the Fallout shelter colonies that we were building back in Fallout 4, right? What is this going to look like on these planets? What goes into all of that? And then on the flip side, the shipbuilding, right? Like, how do you make that fun and engaging?
That's the cool. I mean, that could be cool.
Really cool, right? I want to make the Rocinante from the Expanse, right? I want to be able to make a vertical ship. Can I do that? Because from everything we've seen, they're all horizontal.
Yeah, when I talk about there may not be an aspect of it that sets a new paradigm, I feel like if there is, it feels like that's potentially where it would be. Yeah. The idea of being able to customize your ship and you can create, how the ship become, like Han had a relationship with the Millennium Falcon, right? And Mal had a relationship with the Serenity. It wasn't just a ship, it was their home. And they anthropomorphized it, and it was they cared about it. Or Paris and I were just talking earlier about Kirk and the Enterprise. It's a living thing that you care about. And the idea that you can custom make your own ship that you feel like is yours and you have a relationship with it, that potentially, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. And what junk am I going to grab, Paris? You know what I mean? Back in Skyrim and Oblivion, I would grab every single book known to man. I mean, I was grabbing every book there was and just carrying them. Why? Because I wanted them, right? So, what cool junk is there for me to just grab and hoard? Because that's what I want to be, some hoarding goblin on my spaceship. That's exciting to me as well. So I look forward to that. Another flip side also is just taking a look at it all. What are the alien races? What are those cool dinosaur monsters that we saw out there? Is it going to be the same thing over and over again? Or do we really expand and have some really unique aliens? I think that's what I'm most excited to see as well.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of potential. Yeah, and I would just say, take whatever they show you. When are they doing it?
June 11th.
Take whatever they show you in June with a pinch of salt, because again, you will never know for sure until you play the game and decide for yourself. But again, there is the opportunity for them to show some stuff that's oh wow, they're doing that. That's cool, right? And so we'll see.
Okay, Paris, you pumped about this? Well, on the scale of 1 to 10, where do we fall on this one?
I'm probably at a 9.5.
Okay.
I want to be excited about this. I want to be very enthusiastic about it. Again, it's coming from a studio and a team that have given me some of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. So for them to now take, a slight risk by doing something that they've never done before with the space exploration, I want to see what this is. I want to see what this team's vision is going to be for that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, obviously June 11th, we'll get to direct. I'm sure I'll get even more excited at that point. But yeah, September 6th, it's going to be a pretty big day. Yeah. For not only for Bethesda, but for Xbox and gamers, because I do think we're going to get a pretty special RPG, or at least knock on wood, I hope we do. I think the potential is absolutely there.
It's going to be a sweet June 11th with the Xbox Game Showcase as well. Just a great summer day full of games.
I mean, the best case scenario for this game, right, is it is another Skyrim where 10 fucking 15 years from now, they're still doing expansions and they're still doing mods, and there's still, special centenary mega, celebration edition. I think, ultimately they want it to have that kind of long tail, right? Yeah. Where it's a game that now occupies an entire, Skyrim ended up kind of occupying an entire era. It's bigger than just a game. It's this monolithic thing. And obviously, their ambition for Starfield is on a similar level.
Before we go, just thought of this one, Paris, as well. Collector's edition. Are we coming out with one after what Fallout 76 was?
I mean, that bag thing, right? They've learned their lesson.
They've learned. Can we nail that? Can we get something?
Do you
cool
think
here?
they're going to have big, crazy, physical special editions of this game?
If it is,
they have to,
they'll
right?
say it June 11th. Yeah,
you would have to think they do, right? But the issue that I go to is okay, they would give you the ship, but you create the ship, so it's the ship won't mean anything to you in the collector's edition because you're going to make your own.
And
right? What is that cool piece?
For some people, I think those special editions are meaningful. But like I glaze over when I see these like $109, $200 for this thing with like a giant fucking Aloy figurine or whatever. Like I have kids. I don't have room for that shit in my house.
I want that stuff.
I don't want
that.
Again, for you, it could be good, but I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't even care about physical editions of games anymore. I'm going to play it on Game Pass. Right? I don't need a disc or a box. And this is the bullshit now. You see, games are shipping in boxes, and all you get inside is the fucking download code. There's no disc.
That's a problem.
What the fuck is that?
What you got for me, Paris?
So let me say this, because we do know that people at Xbox listen and watch this show, and we truly appreciate that. And same at Bethesda. And we know Greg Miller is an avid fan of this show. So I want to say this for all parties involved.
Get him out.
Not before launch. After Starfield comes out, I would absolutely love, and hell, I will fly up to San Francisco. We could do it in the studio. We'll all be together. I would absolutely love to have a conversation with Todd Howard / Pete Hines about Starfield and the development and just everything with this game, because now we would have had hands-on with it. We would have had experience about it, and we can have an in-depth conversation. And the reason I bring up Greg Miller into this conversation is, no, Greg, he's not going on Gamecast with you. It's an Xbox game. It needs to be with the Xcast.
Well, listen,
okay?
now that I'm close personal friends with Todd, we're like this now. I'll just text him. I'll set it up.
There you go.
Wow. You're so cool. You go to Dice once, and you're now the coolest.
What? No, I'll text him now, and he'll just leave me on red.
Well, I'm very excited to see what we get in June. We now have a firm release date of September. So really excited as we continue to look at Xbox's slate of 2023 games from the first party turnout. We now know where we're going, right? Minecraft Legends up next. Forza, still a question mark right now.
What's the
Starfield,
question mark over Forza?
Still don't have a release date.
Right.
So we're still just waiting on Forza Redfall right around the corner along with Minecraft. Of course.
I have a conspiracy.
Oh, my God. Lay it on me.
I have a conspiracy Steve thought on all of this. So first and foremost, when this release date came out, it just really made me start to think, you know what? We've been doing Xcast, has it been 2 years? 2 years, something like that, right? I feel like now the floodgates are about to open. I really do believe that. I think starting next month with Minecraft Legends moving forward, we're really going to see the floodgates open for Xbox Game Studios and start to see a lot of these games that we've been anticipating for the past couple years. And because of that, I look at what's coming the rest of 2023. Like you said, Minecraft Legends, we're getting Redfall in May. Obviously, they'll have their big June showcase and the Starfield Direct, so there'll be some announcements there. I would imagine during the summer months, we're going to see some ID at Xbox stuff. Like there's things like Lightyear Frontier and Replaced that should be coming out. We know Stalker 2 is coming out at some point this year as well. Then obviously we get to September, we're getting Starfield, and this is where the conspiracy comes in. I think Forza is October, if I had to guess, when I kind of start connecting the dots.
Why is that controversial or conspiratorial?
It's not controversial, because when you look at it, are you really going to drop Forza? Because the Elder Scrolls Online expansion comes out in June, right? So you're not going to put Forza out in June. Obviously, if it was coming out before that, they would have said Forza. You're not going to drop Forza in July. August seems kind of early. You're not going to put it head to head with Starfield in September. So October is kind of that month where you can drop it in there. And I think traditionally, Forza has always come out around late September, October anyways, right?
It makes sense to me. Why not?
Yeah. So with that said, here's the other conspiracy. I think Hellblade 2 is this year. I really do.
You're still sticking from that, because that's what I was going to ask you. Do we lose that now, you and I? Do we lose that one?
But then it is starting to look like a very crowded window, isn't it?
Here, okay. I'm glad you said that, because I said this on Twitter. People got mad at me. I think Hellblade 2 comes out this year. I do think it comes in November. And if you think of what, again, look, Gamecast, Greg Miller, what did Matt Booty say? They want to have all these big games start coming out, right? They got to make up for these games that should have come in 2022 or coming in 2023. There's still things that should be coming in 2023, right? So yeah, it does look a little stacked, but everyone's Xbox didn't have any games in 2022. So are we now going to say you have too many games in 2023?
No, pleasing some people, Paris.
I know.
Not enough games, too many. Like the porridge is never just right.
But my point on all this is now you're, like I said, you're seeing the floodgates open where they have all these studios are starting to get their games to come out. Why not cap off the year with the Hellblade 2 in November? That's like boom, September, October, November, you have 3 big AAA titles coming from their internal studios to end the year. I think that's a big win for them. That instills confidence in what Xbox has coming in 2024 and beyond. Not to mention, it's all on freaking Game Pass. No one's twisting your arm to play it all at the same time anyways, right? Play it when you can. Look, as a gamer, the biggest complaint I should have is not having enough time to play a bunch of great games.
Yeah, same.
I'd rather have that problem.
I would, again, it's like I said, it's a high class problem to have, and maybe it's not the worst thing for Xbox right now when they are trying to, I'll be honest, I think the vibes have been off a little bit with Xbox recently.
Well, the vibes have been clearly with the Activision Blizzard stuff. That's where the vibes have all been.
Right, but there's also been this vibe of Xbox doesn't have enough good games, and Phil Spencer's admitted it, right, at the AAA level. PlayStation, on the other side, continues to kill it with these big AAA, first-party and third-party games. I've said before on the show, Xbox needs to come up to that level. And having, with a bunch of games coming up, boom, 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 maybe that's what they need to move on from the current talking point, which is Xbox needs more, bangers.
Lay it on us.
Yeah.
Let's see how they can deliver the rest of the year. And, of course, in June, it'll be fun to see the game showcase and what they do. Will we move away from the messaging of coming out in the next 12 months?
Right.
Right? Like, clearly, maybe we shouldn't say that because we missed that mark. But let's see what they do. I'm really excited for June. Let's talk about the now, though, because yesterday, Halo Season 3 finally released. And man, oh man, I have some really positive things to say about Halo Season 3 because it was a ton of fun to jump back in with friends and check out the Echoes Within. Of course, 3 brand new maps, 2 arena, 1 big team battle. You got a brand new mode. You got a new piece of equipment. You got a new gun. You got a brand new battle pass and a little new piece of the narrative thread that we continue to spin over there. And I just want to say, hey, for all of you out there, of course, it's easy to dunk on Halo. We've been down on Halo a lot lately since the release. This has been the most positive I've been on Halo in quite some time. I had a blast jumping in and checking out the new content that they've added here for Season 3. And I think this team really delivered. What I saw yesterday was the best Halo experience that I've had since launch when all the hype was there. We've always known it has killer gameplay. It's always been a question of content. But when you turn on Halo Infinite right now, you have a lot of fun things to do, whether it be the Forge and community-created maps and game modes, which is really, really great. It has some really standout stars, like some old-school maps that you love. Hang 'em High, Lockout we played as well. Guardian was out there that people were creating. And these new maps are really, really something special. I don't think it's enough, but it's something to get you back in and playing with your friends. So I wanted to take a moment and highlight some of the cool stuff that is Halo Season 3. And I'll start off with the new maps. 2 new arena maps. You have Cliffhanger and Chasm. Chasm is very reminiscent, Gary, of the first level of Halo Infinite. You're in the Forerunner dungeon. You have a lot of silver, a lot of just metal all around you, and it's very tight. It's the smallest map they've made, and it leads to a lot of engagement, a lot of fun to be had.
So good for just deathmatch type stuff?
Deathmatch, free-for-all. King of the Hill has been a good time on it, and they have a new mode, Gary, called Escalation. Escalation Slayer, which I call, a.k.a. Team Gun Match. So, of course, if you know gun game, Gary, and all the games where you start off with a pistol, end with a rocket launcher to win. They've done that, but team-based. So 4v4, we start off with a rocket launcher. You end with the oddball and have to win with the oddball.
Okay.
It's a blast, Gary.
That's cool.
Really well done game mode, so I got to give them credit for that. But right now, my favorite map in all of Halo Infinite is this new Cliffhanger map.
Okay.
It's got Halo Reach vibes. It's outdoorsy. It's got some snow. It's got some nice, rugged terrain, some really cool sight lines, some different moves that you can make, whether it go into the middle, taking the big man cannon across the side. It's dope, Gary. So I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing from that. And their big team battle map, I just said it, probably their best big team battle map.
Now you're speaking my language. You know, I love big team battle.
I know you do, Gary. I know you do. And you know what? They delivered on this one. It is beautiful. It's big. It has some really cool pathways, whether it be on the outside for vehicle combat or right down the middle with this cool shelter inside. Very, very great maps that they created. So I'm very impressed with what they did.
Okay.
I showed you the narrative.
I watched the cinematic.
You watched the cinematic. Paris, have you seen it? I'm sure you saw a little bit of that cinematic there.
Yes, I did.
Awesome. I mean, it's easy to praise the CGI cinematic, right? Like we all can do.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was very cool. I wish we got single-player campaign stuff, right? Or co-op campaign we built on that story.
I guess my question is
cool.
how is that meaningful beyond that being like a cool little 3-minute mini movie? Like, does that? I mean, but that's not in any. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything in terms of the multiplayer, right? You're just going to be running around killing each other like you do in multiplayer.
You still do, is right.
Right.
Yeah. The battle pass.
So, like, what does that? What does
cool
that little 3-minute piece of story like do for like in the bigger picture of Halo? Does it really achieve anything, or is it just like
it's pushing forward a story that they want to tell? You know what I mean? They want to get you involved. So always the funniest thing as well. You have that epic trailer, right? Then they have another follow-up one where the 2 Spartans are talking, the 2 lone wolves, and then they turn. Who shows up? Mike in a giant bright blue and green cat ears helmet Spartan, and I'm like, don't do that. You know, we were all hyped up about putting our Spartan in the game. We don't got to do that 343 because I look dumb and I shouldn't be in the trailer. I shouldn't be in the video. So
that's fine. When people like really whack out their character.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised at the way I'm feeling about this right now because as we've said obviously we talked about Halo at great length on this show in the past, and we've talked many times about this weird roller coaster we've been on, right? From the launch, which was terrific. We loved the launch.
Yes.
Great gunplay, great vibes. I was the most I've ever been into Halo was like the first 2 months of the Halo Infinite multi. I was playing it. I was staying up late in the morning, at night. I was getting up early in the morning to play it. I was playing it when I should really have been working. And when I wasn't playing, you know what I was doing, Mike? I was fucking thinking about playing. Like that's when a game's really in your head, when it's when it's living rent free in your head 24/7. That's where Halo was for me. And then I just kind of fell off because this map again. Like I got to that point where I just hit the wall of like there's not enough to do, and I got bored of like what was there. But I was loving it. And eventually I installed it and I didn't go back. And for a while I've been thinking like, that's it, I'm just done with Halo. I can't see myself going back to it. After seeing what you just laid out and you told me a big team battle, I actually can kind of feel myself getting the itch again. Like, I don't know, maybe I should go back in and play.
A little itch
because
right there.
what I remember is when I was having fun, I really was having a lot of fun. And if I could get like a little crew together again and play with friends, I know I can kind of see myself getting back into it. And we're going to talk about vibes. Mike, recently with Halo, and like the vibes have really been off, as you know. Like it's been bad vibes in the Halo universe. Like there's been a lot of kind of grim, fatalistic talk, all of these layoffs.
Remember when Master Chief was naked half the season and we never put the armor on? I had to say it. Everybody, remember that time? That was crazy.
Master Chief's version 2.0. There was. There's been a question mark about 343, right? About like what's the future of the Halo narrative? Like the vibes have been almost like funereal. Talking about like I don't know, is Halo like is it done? Like do they need something new? Like is Halo just like had it? Like we've really been like to the brink. I don't know if like you said it's not necessarily enough, but like what this does feel like, and again I've not been following the chatter, so maybe you're close to it. You tell me, but this feels like actually like a positive step in the right direction.
It's a very positive shot in the arm right now. I can see it on Twitter. I can see it in the community. This is a positive shot.
The community's reacting well to this?
The community is really liking this. They're very pleased with this. New piece of equipment as well called the Shroud Screen, which is essentially a smoke grenade.
Okay.
So think of the big bubble shield, but instead you can shoot through it and into it, but it just creates this giant cool black hole that you can't see into or out of, and it's badass looking. It's really cool when you put it on the map, and it's a ton of fun to use. They also have a brand new weapon called the Bandit Rifle, which is a little bit less than your battle rifle / sniper rifle on lengthwise, but a little bit more than the assault rifle. And it's just a nice new touch of like, here's a new starting weapon. So when you create those custom games, or maybe when they start doing ranked playlists and they want to add it in there, like it's just a perfect like, hey, here's a new starting weapon that you can try out and have some fun with.
So can you see yourself getting like really back into it?
With the way that custom games work and how much fun, I was really impressed with what I saw on Forge Creations. I could see one day a week starting to make that a regular rotation thing. I could see it becoming more into the regular rotation once again.
It does feel like a step in again, and boy did they need it, right? Because again, like it's been trending down for a while, the vibes on Halo, and I think once the community, like the mood starts to turn sour, as I feel it has been, it can be hard to turn that back around again. But that's why I asked you specifically how the community's responded. If they have successfully, like I said, given the community a shot in the arm, they're like, no, you actually got this right. Like maybe there's hope. I mean, like, they need to keep that going, but it's nice to see, because we all want Halo to succeed, right? Like as much as we talk shit about it sometimes, we spit facts here. We're not just cheerleaders. The vibes have been off, and we've been honest about that. But we all want it to, like, I'd much rather games be good than bad. I don't want to see things fail. I want to see Halo do well. I want to continue to enjoy the game. So it pleases me to see what looks like a step in the right direction. Because again, boy, did they need it.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. The big one was the future, right? The Xbox Wire had a great write-up of like what you can expect out of the season details and a nice sit-down interview with Sean Barron from the team, right? And the big quote from that was, in our preview season 3, I said that this is the beginning of what seasonality is for Halo Infinite. But seasonality is restrictive. To me, seasonality is about really being consistent. We need to be consistent in everything. I feel very confident with where we've gone with season 3, and I have a very strong confidence that we're going to be able to keep improving on that consistency and avoid completely the long seasons of the past. That's the big takeaway for me right there, Paris.
And that was the thing I wanted to jump in on is if you go back to last fall when they initially kind of announced this roadmap and we all kind of groaned and didn't like what it was they were applying duct tape and Band-Aids to try and get to this point in March where we are right now today to where they could get consistent with content rollouts for their season. So to the point, like he's saying in the article, and they actually said this last year, now our expectations as player is, okay, we had the long delays, here we are, and now it's show me, be consistent with your content. Regular rotation of new content coming out with these seasons, not these 6-9 month seasons.
Right.
Let's get right back on track onto what the original vision of what Halo multiplayer was supposed to be. So I have personally not played it yet, just obviously other things going on. I haven't had a chance to jump in yet, but I will this week. But to your point, Mike, it's great to hear you talking so highly of it. The community has been talking highly of it. So I will be jumping in.
I'll reinstall it. Let's try and get the 3 of us into a game.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like a little Xcast community night with the
why not?
Mike. That would be
absolutely. I'm all for that. And
we can schedule that out.
Yeah. And to Parrish's point, like that's, and to what you were just saying about seasonality, this is the challenge, right, in the area of live service games, is that you'll labor for a long time to build content, new levels, new raids, new whatever. And the hardcore community will fucking burn through it so fast. Like, what else you got? What else you got? What else you got? So we just dropped it. You want to know what else we got? Jesus Christ. But like, that's the challenge, right? And you're right. The gaps, again, talking about the porridge being just right. The gaps so far between new content drops on Halo Infinite have been too long. Again, like, I was loving it, but even I was like, come on, guys, the same fucking maps over and over again. Like I'm ready for something new. And I don't think it was unreasonable to ask for something new at that point, and they were too slow to deliver it. So they need, if they understand that now, it's like we can't keep doing these 6-9 month seasons. We gotta like, maybe we hire more people or whatever it is. Like, we need to rebuild this roadmap in such a way that our audience, even the cutting edge players that are playing hours a day, never hit that wall of like, I'm bored now, I need something new. Like, you've got to stay ahead of, right as the point where you go, I wish I had something new. They're like, well, here it is. You got to keep going. Like, live service game development never fucking ends. Like, you're always building the game.
I want to end it with one big shout out for the 343 team. Great freaking job on the never-ending season passes. Okay, like, big appreciation of that season passes with you forever. So when you put down that game and you killed season 1 season pass, maybe like me, or season 2 you stopped playing and you only got to level 14, and now there's a brand new level 100 battle pass season pass, but you can go back to season 2 and grind that. You can go back to the community event ones and grind those. Great job, because nothing hurts more than buying that Fortnite season pass, only getting halfway done, and then being like, well, clock is ticking. You better get to level 100.
I didn't know they had done that. And that's another, I'm really glad, because I hate that shit. And that is a big deal. And I guess, and obviously that speaks to like how they're monetizing the game, right? Then if they're not relying on selling you a new season pass every season, and again, if the seasons are coming more frequently, you're going to resent having to pay for each one, right? I guess that means that in terms of monetization, it's just all cosmetics and items, right? They're just stuff in the store, because a lot of the monetization is based around paying for seasons. If they're just saying like lifetime pass, then they must have a new economic model for how they're monetizing the game that's not reliant on that.
You buy each season pass if you want it. It's with you forever from that point forward. You can earn enough credits in the season pass to buy the next battle pass, right? For the next season. So like, it's a really great model, and I'm pleased knowing that I can come back, not feel that pressure during the season if I fall off not wanting to play it, or when I return to go, man, I got a bunch of battle passes that I can grind through right now and have some fun with my friends. They got match XP now instead of just challenge XP. That's a big win. We got ranked game modes in there, which is a big win. Like I said, The Forge community creations looking good. Some really fun stuff to do. So as of right now, after day number 1, excited to jump back in.
Wait,
We'll
so when
check
you talk
in with
about
that.
the challenge XP, are you talking about that? Are they come off of that stuff where it's like, oh, you like kill
Remember
10
that?
people with a pistol or whatever,
Correct.
which was bullshit because you had people running
hated
around
that.
just trying to hit their challenges instead of contributing to the team goal, which is what you wanted. It was actually antithetical to team play. And I'm trying to capture the flag and win the game, and some asshole's over here with a pistol just trying to do his challenges. I'm like, dude, we're trying to win the game here.
No, now you got that match XP, Gary. That,
Okay, much better.
That good. You
Much
want,
better.
Right.
All right, I like it.
So big shout outs to 343. Great start to the season. Excited to see where we go after this week and following on. What's the consistency? But as of right now, day 1, very pleased with what I saw.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm pleased to have the two gaming dads back. And I hope all of you had a good episode as well. It was nice to be back with Paris and Gary. We'll be back next week with a whole lot of fun. And until then, keep playing games, gamers. We'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.